me, your boy. Today's a different video. I own a construction company and like a handyman service, and so I don't do music every day. So I figured maybe this channel shouldn't be music all the time. And I've done some construction videos in the past, so here we are. Today, I'm gonna teach you how to reseat a toilet. This toilet is fine, except for the fact that it's not. Let me explain. So it rocks like this from side to side. That's not good. That means that it's not sitting correctly on the tile and it could crack. Like the porcelain could crack or the tile could crack, or worse, both. That could be due to a few things. Normally it's because there's not shims underneath the toilet to keep it from rocking. Sometimes it's because these bolts right here have not been tightened down enough, or they have been tightened down and over time the ring that the toilet sits on has gotten loose. I'm thinking it's that the ring's gotten loose because the flush on this toilet is pretty weak. That's the other problem. So hopefully we're gonna kill two birds with one stone today. Now, to reseat a toilet, you need to do a few things. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is turn the water off. I've got these quarter turn valves. Yours might be different. So here we go. I'm just gonna turn this off. All right. Now that stops the flow of water going into the tank. So the next thing we need to do is empty the tank. That's pretty easy. You just flush the toilet. See how weak that flush is? When your boy takes a big old dump, sometimes it don't all go down, and that's gotta change. All right, so now that the water's off and the tank is empty, like as you can hear it, it's not filling. The next thing we're gonna do is we're going to empty this part of the toilet. And the way that I do that is I get a sponge and I get a bucket, and I put the sponge in there and absorb the water, and then I squeeze it into the bucket, and I just keep doing that until there's no water left. So put a pair of gloves on, get the sponge nice and waterlogged, and then just take it over to your bucket, squeeze it out. And just keep doing that until you got all the water. Okay, so all the water's out of that part. The next thing we want to do is take all the water out of this part, because we have to disconnect the filling hose, and that filling hose is going to spill water all over the floor because there's still stuff in there. So let's get the water out of there. Same process. Get your sponge in there, soak it up, squeeze it into the bucket. All right, now the next thing you're going to do is unhook the fill valve here. Make sure the water's off, make sure the tank's empty, make sure the bowl's empty, then unhook that. All right, once you've got that unhooked, a little bit of water is gonna come out. Don't be afraid of it. Water is just water. A little bit of water never hurt nothing. All right, and then have your sponge ready so you can clean up the water. Boom, problem solved. Next thing you're gonna do is carefully unscrew these. I say carefully because you don't wanna hit the metal tool against the toilet and crack it, because then you're gonna have to replace the toilet. There's no real fixing porcelain once it's been fucked up, so don't do that. So you're gonna get your wrench. All right, let's start over here just so I can hold the camera. Then you're gonna take the wrench, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So we're just gonna wiggle the bolt a little bit to get it started. And then you just keep going until it's undone. Do both sides. All right, now once you've got both bolts off of both sides, you're gonna have to pull the toilet straight up. I'm gonna give it to you straight. This is the hard part. I'm gonna give you some tips to make this as easy as possible. You wanna make sure that there's nothing in the way. Right now, there are things in the way. So for instance, I would move that blue bucket and all this stuff on the floor out here. I gotta find a different place for it. Have a spot in mind where you wanna put the toilet when you pick it up. Because again, don't drop it or crack it, you'll have to get a new toilet. So be careful, go slowly, have a plan, and just pick that motherfucker up and put it down somewhere safe. That's all you have to do in this step. You have to pick it up high enough that it clears those bolts and completely comes off those bolts. In my case, that's about 3 inches. Now, I'm 6'6", no big deal. I could pick that thing up 5 fucking feet if I wanted to. I don't want to, but I could. So, I'm gonna pick it up, I'm gonna put it like right about here on the floor, so I'm gonna clear a space, and then I'm just gonna do it. And I think this is the part of any construction project that really fucks with people, because like this is the part where you just have to do a thing. Like There's no getting around it. There's no getting past it. There's no special tool for it. It's just brute force. You just have to be strong enough, confident enough, pick the motherfucker up and move it. That's it. That's it. Sounds like easy. But for some people, this fucks them up. They can't do this part. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I get nervous too. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not any better or worse than anybody else. I've just done it before. That's all. But that first time I did it, boy, I would tell you what, I was worried. You know? Of course I was. But like every time after that was easier because I was like, oh, I've done this before. You know what I mean? So, I think a good rule of thumb for gambling, this is a gamble, right? If you're doing this yourself, trying to see if you can save yourself some money, you're basically gambling. Don't ever spend more money than you can lose. Like, don't ever bet more money than you're able to lose. And I would say the same thing with DIY. Like, don't ever do a project where you can't afford to buy a new toilet, because that's all you're risking here. So if like new toilet's $300, then make sure you have $300 in case you drop it. That's all I can say about it. Okay, space is cleared. Here we go. Pull my pants up so you all can't see my ass. That's on my OnlyFans. You gotta pay for that. Alright, so I don't see the wax ring that's supposed to be on the toilet, which leads me to believe it's on the bottom of this toilet. So I'm going to really carefully set it down on its back. Oh boy. Oh boy. Now, in terms of how heavy that is, I'd say it's probably around like 50 or 60 pounds. But, you know, we're good. We made it. That's the hard part. Yeah, the wax ring's on the bottom here. Ooh, my, that's gross. Well, there's the problem. Here, you want to see? Problem is that wax ring got squished all the way down and it wasn't making a good seal anymore. So I bet when the thing was flushing, it wasn't flushing all the way. And you can kind of see here how it's left like a really bad impression. So we're gonna, well, the first thing I'm gonna do is get like a bag or something to stuff that hole with in the floor because that shit smells. And then I'm gonna grab my scraper. I'm gonna scrape all that off. I'm gonna put a new wax ring down. But I'm gonna give it to you step by step. I don't know why I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's pause. Okay, so I took the old ring off. I just used a scraper right there. Anything flat, just to kind of get it going. And a little bit of encouragement goes a long way. It'll just start to fall off in your hand. It's not, it looks like kind of gross, right? But this brown stuff, like the majority of it, that brown color, like people are like, oh God, that's poop. It's like, no, dude, it's not poop. It's beeswax. These rings are made out of beeswax. Like there's a brand new one right there. And, yeah, we haven't found a better solution than beeswax. And a lot of people will say like, oh, you can get the rubberized ones or you get the plastic ones, man. The plastic ones work just as good. No, they don't. You know how many of those I've replaced? Beeswax? Never had to replace it, except for this one, but that's because it wasn't done right. Okay, back to it. So now what you're gonna do, and you're going to take your ring, and you're gonna basically just go flomp and place it down like that. Like that's the downside, like, and then once it's down there, you're gonna take the white plastic part off, right? Take this white part off. It should just peel off. It's got little perforations on it even. And then when that comes off, you'll put the bolts back in where they're supposed to go, which are these two little slots here on the side. And then you will lift the toilet back over the flange, now with a new wax ring, and then gently set the bowl down where it needs to go. Now, I'm gonna give it to you straight again. This is the other hard part, because it's kind of a one-shot deal, where if you don't smush the ring right, you end up with what we had over here. That's the consequence. So you either do it right the first time or you do it again. That's all I have to say about it. You'll probably fuck it up. So buy 2 of these rings. They're not expensive. I think they're like $10 each. Just buy 2 of them. Fuck the first one up? Cool, try again. Buy 3, I don't care. Have an extra one. You can never have too many. They don't go bad. Okay, here we are again. It's another just do it kind of step. Alright, draw the rest of the fucking hole. So I've got my ring set up, I've got the 2 bolts sticking up, ready to receive this toilet. So 2 bolts sticking up, wax ring where it's supposed to go, and we're just going to pick this back up and do the reverse motion, go back into the room, put the toilet down, and then we're going to, the next part's fun, we get to sit down on the toilet with our big fat butts and wiggle it around to make sure it seats correctly. I mean, that's what you're going to do on the toilet, is sit your butt on it. Like, why not use your butt to make the impression? It just makes sense. Anyway, so here we go. Carefully tilty backy uppy. All right. Once we got it tilty, we're gonna grabby. Grabby. I like to put it between my legs like this. Just keeps it right where my center of gravity is. I kick the thing. That's all right. All right. Okay, that's it. It's starting to squish, so I'm going to very carefully squish it into place. Tighten the bolts down, shim it up a little bit, reattach the hose, just do everything in the reverse order we already did, and we're done. Thank God the Lord gave me a donk. Big money maker right here. Get my ass up here and swish it around a little bit. There you go. We're going to shim it up and call it a day. Whoever did my bathroom really fucked up the tile, and so it's way lower back there than it is up here. So put some shims in so it doesn't rock. Both sides. So this side is level right here on the ground. That side is not. It needs 1 shim. Back there it needed 4 shims, and back here it needed 3 shims. So there you go. Anyway, so now that everything is reattached, got my fill valve reattached, I'm going to go ahead and flush the toilet, make sure there's no leaks. Alright, so the first flush was unsuccessful. And I bet that's because it needed to fill the bowl back up. So we're going to let it fill back up the tank. We're not going to panic. And we're going to try again. Don't panic. Yes! Any leaks? I'm not seeing any. I'm not seeing any. Much stronger flush. That's a job well done. If you guys liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up so I know that it's not a waste of my time. I don't mind making more of these. I do this kind of work all the time. And I'll see you dudes next time.